men. Once again, this is The Way to a Wonderful Life. I am Reverend Dr. Henry Lee Bates, coming to you live from Palm Springs, California. This program is not pre-recorded, nor is it edited. It is live. And our Way to a Wonderful Life message for today is titled, Always a Fresh Start. Always a fresh start. And I have some words here from the great Dr. Robert Bitzer, who founded the Hollywood Church in Los Angeles on Sunset Boulevard. And this is from his book, Collected Essays, which are a collection of his Sunday talks at that church. He writes, while you may in some respects be the product of your past, that must be forgotten. You must rise above that conception. Life is constantly starting new endeavors. The past is gone. Your true spiritual discernment knows only beginnings, all things new. You were born into the light. Your way is clear. You are being now where you are. You are being now where you are. So in other words, when he says you were born into the light, that light symbolizes the intelligence, the power, and the Spirit of God. In Him we live and move and have our being, and that Him is the Father. As Jesus said, the Father is the Spirit, and we must worship Him, give our attention to Him, depend on Him, trust in Him, rely on Him in spirit and in truth. So let's look at these words again from Dr. Robert Bitzer with that in mind. He writes, while you may in some respects be the product of your past, that must be forgotten. You must rise above that conception. Life is constantly starting new endeavors. The past is gone. Your true spiritual discernment knows only beginnings, all things new. You were born into the light. Your way is clear. You are now being whatever it is that you desire right where you are, but it's on the unseen side of life. And that's why St. Augustine tells us faith is to believe what you do not see. That means what you do not see with your physical eyes and the material, but what you see in faith. And he says the reward of this faith is to see what you believe. The reward of this faith is to see what you believe, because the Spirit that dwells within each of us is not bound by conditions, nor is it bound by our past. It is always seeking to express something new through us, even if it appears like we're doing the same thing. We can look at nature and we can see that this is true, for all things are growing and changing constantly. It is this energy of life moving through all things that cannot be stopped in this expression of growth and expansion. This is why we can become depressed when we are thinking that nothing is advancing in our lives, because we are accepting something in our mind that is never true. It's never true. Things are always, always progressing. No matter what the appearance of the conditions of things in our lives may be, change is taking place. It is up to us to recognize that this is so, and in doing so, we direct the change to that which we desire it to be through our thoughts. Remember, our thoughts are our faith. What we focus our thoughts on, what we think about, becomes our faith. And what we think about ourselves and what we think about others combined creates our life experiences. As we read in the ancient scriptures, as within, so without. As a man thinketh or a woman thinketh, so is he or she. Now, the great Dr. Norman Vincent Peale wrote in his book, You Can If You Think You Can. He says you can think your way through anything. He says you can think your way through anything. Think. Just think. You can if you exercise will and persistence and mental calmness. Rid yourself of the doubt and fear. You can if you exercise will and persistence and mental calmness. Think your way through anything. Your great tool is your mind. With your mind, you have power over all conditions and circumstances and over any problem, however difficult. Now, this is from the great Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and this is his book, You Can If You Think You Can. And you can buy that book on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, and it's a terrific book. So let's go back and let's look at what he wrote again. You can think your way through anything. Think, just think. You can if you exercise will and persistence and mental calmness. Think your way through anything. Your great tool is your mind. With mind, you have power over all conditions and circumstances and over any problem, however difficult. You can if you think you can, and if you think straight, just think. All the answers to your problems are resident in your mind, but they are being blocked off because of your strong emotional reactions and sometimes even panic. One thing is sure, the human mind will not function creatively when it is hot. Only when it is cool, absolutely cool, will it deliver these factual, rational, intellectual insights which produce solutions that solve our problems. So he's telling us that we must rid ourselves of the thoughts of emergencies and urgencies and crisis and desperation and all those things and hopelessness and helplessness, and let our mind be cool, let our mind be relaxed. That's why we read in the scripture, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that you have nothing to fear. Be still and know that I am here. Be still and know that the answer to whatever it is that you seek to solve is available to you. Be still and know that all things work to your good. That's that. Be still and know. Be still and know in the silence. As Jesus said, go into the closet, and that which is between you and the Father, that whatever it is that you ask of the Father in that stillness, he will reward you with openly. So don't go telling everybody about what you're going to do, what you're going to be, what you're going to have. Keep that sacred secret between you and the Father until it is made manifest in the material for all to see. As we think about the things in our lives, do they bring us a sense of joy, a feeling of success, enthusiasm, and excitement? It is possible for each of us to feel these things about our lives and to experience them daily. We have it within us to know that whatever we were to have learned from our past, we've already learned it, and now we are ready to move forward with confidence, knowing that there is nothing, no thing, to prevent us from experiencing more and more good except the belief that we can't. Many people continue to hold the belief that the past repeats itself. Eliminate that from your mind right now. This is not the truth for us, as this would imply that our consciousness is made of cement, that these thoughts and ideas and false beliefs are set in stone, rather than the substance of the spirit, which is always fluid and flowing and flexible. No matter what we have labeled our past experiences, whether they were good or bad, beautiful or ugly, everything that has ever happened has expanded our awareness and therefore our consciousness. So let's look back again at those words of St. Augustine. I want to impress these on everyone today because there's always a fresh start. Faith is to believe what you do not see. The reward of this faith is to see what you believe. That's from St. Augustine. And Dr. Norman Vincent Peale cautions us against strong emotional reactions to our problems and circumstances. And it is these strong emotional reactions that maintain those fragments of past experiences in our consciousness, and they keep kind of popping up to our memory for us, but we have to reject them. We have to say, oh no, been there, done that, bought the T-shirt, let's continue on towards the good. Forward, onward and upward, towards a greater good, a higher good, a more wonderful good, a more joyous good, a more abundant good. So it is those strong emotional reactions that maintain fragments of past experiences in our consciousness. As we develop within our mind a reaction to past events as experiences, to see it as an experience. Say, I did experience that, but that experience is done, rather than labeling it as a bad or a good experience or maddening or marvelous, or keep bringing it up to our mind and say, oh, this is what I went through, and oh, this is what I overcome, and this is what my life was, and blah, 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 until we're just buried in the stuff. See ourselves as moving in the Spirit, you live and move and have your being in the Spirit of God, and that Spirit is intelligence and power. That Spirit is the all-knowing intelligence that will reveal to you the answer to every problem, reveal to you where you're to be directed and guided to realize that greater good that you seek in your mind, but we must seek it in our mind. That means through our thoughts. We must think about what it is that we want. Let's go back to those words from Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. You can think your way through anything. think. Just think. You can if you exercise will and persistence and mental calmness. Think your way through anything. Your great tool is your mind. With mind, you have power over all conditions and circumstances and over any problem, no matter how difficult. You can if you think you can, and if you think straight, just think. All the answers to your problems are resident in your mind, but they are being blocked off because of your strong emotional reactions, even panic, desperation, and helplessness, hopelessness, all that nonsense. The thing is sure, the human mind will not function creatively when it is hot. Only when it is cool, absolutely cool, will it deliver these factual, rational, intellectual insights which produce solutions as solved, because that's how we receive our guidance and our direction, in the silence, in the silence. And that's why the ancient wisdom called us to go into the silence, but be still and know that I am God. And Jesus called us to go into the closet. It's the same thing. Close your mind to the world, close your mind, and eliminate any thought that anything outside of you can cause you to do anything that's not for your good. Eliminate that thought and realize that God is your all in all, that God is your everything, that God can be relied upon. And so when we have absolute reliance on God, on the principle that as we sow, so shall we reap, and so we sow into our mind those thoughts of success and progress and health and happiness and joy and celebration and achievement and accomplishments, then we shall realize just those things in our lives. So once again, Dr. Norman Appeal cautions us against strong emotional reactions to our problems and circumstances, and it is these strong emotional reactions that maintain fragments of past experiences in our consciousness. As we develop within our mind a reaction to past events as experiences, rather than labeling them either good or bad, maddening or marvelous, we will find that we lessen the degree of emotion that is attached to them, and as we do this repeatedly, we eliminate the emotional conflicts from our consciousness. We have great potential within us. We have, every last one of us, we have great potential within us, or the Spirit of God is within us, that living Spirit that beats our heart, that sees through our eyes, hears through our ears, speaks through our lips. That is that living Spirit, that potential within us, that great potential within us, and we each have access to the spiritual power that will sustain us as we discern that which we want to experience more of, and in the way that we want to experience it. This spiritual power is woven through our power to choose. When we choose, we use this power. When we make a decision, we use this power. There's power in our choosing. There's power in our decisions. God has given us the liberty to choose. That's what absolute unconditional love is all about, that God has created us in His very own image and likeness, that gave us the liberty, the freedom to choose, to discern, to let ourselves be guided and directed by either the voice of wisdom or the words of foolishness from the world, whatever it may be. We get to choose, and as we choose, we get to realize consequences of every choice. So this spiritual power is woven through our power to choose, and when we choose, we use this power. And so we must be definite in choosing to make a fresh start, and we make this fresh start at any point in time that we choose to. Our outer experiences are expressions of our awareness, and we are aware within our own mind. This inner awareness is projected into our personal experiences. This inner awareness, not only aware of who we are and what we're about, but who everyone is. Remember, God created us in God's own image and likeness. This intelligence, this power, this Spirit, clothed our spirit in human form, and incarnated within each and every one of us its own image and likeness, its spirit, its life, its power, its intelligence. But have we lost sight of that image and that likeness that God has seen us in? Have we lost sight of that image and likeness that God created us in and become helpless in the world and thinking that somehow the world is able to take our power away, our wisdom away, our intelligence away, our spirit away, and to put us into desperate situations and emergencies and urgencies? Or are we standing firm in our faith that all that's good is God, and all that's good that I desire is God's goodness to reign supreme in my life, to let God's power, God's spirit, God's intelligence to move through my mind, my heart, and my soul, and guide me, direct me, and foster and nurture in my consciousness, cultivate that higher realm of prosperity and love and joy and happiness and health, and let myself experience just those things today and every day of my life. Let's go back to those words of St. Augustine. I'm really going to put these out there today. St. Augustine said, faith is to believe what you do not see. In other words, you're only seeing it in your mind's eye. The reward of this faith is to see what you believe. That's just another way of saying what Jesus said, it's done unto you as you believe. So what is it you're doing unto yourself today? What are you thinking about? Are you thinking, oh, wow, that's nice that he says that, and that's good for other people, but that doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does apply to every one of us. We're all part of the Spirit. We're all living and moving and having our being in the Spirit. Just like we know that the air that we inhale and exhale is pressing against us, is below us, above us, surrounding us, pressing through our lungs, our heart. We know that the Spirit of God is even a finer substance than that air that we breathe, and it's closer to us than breathing near than hands and feet, always awaiting our recognition and identification that it's there and available for us. Recognize that it is. Recognize that it is. Dr. Bitzer says, while you may in some respects be the product of your past, that must be forgotten. Eliminate it from your mind. Keep moving forward in your mind. You must rise above that conception, he says. Life is constantly starting new endeavors. The past is gone. Your true spiritual discernment only knows beginnings, all things new. You were born into the light, and your way is clear. So whatever it is that you see yourself as doing, being, or having, see yourself as being, doing, and having it right now, right where you are in your mind's eye, and let that which you believe outpicture in your life experience. Sometimes it'll do it in very subtle ways, and sometimes it'll do it in ways that will surprise us. But we know that it's always God working through our mind, our heart, and our soul, God intelligence, God spirit, God power, and our faith. Jesus said, thy faith has made thee whole, but we don't get the wholeness of health, the wholeness of joy, the wholeness of prosperity, the wholeness of success and creative expression, the wholeness of happiness and peace and harmony, the wholeness of the joy of living, unless we have faith. Faith is our thoughts. What are we thinking about? Are we thinking about negative things? Are we thinking about the bills that we need to pay? Are we thinking about the fact that, I'm working on a holiday and all these other people are off having fun? I'm working too. So let's just imagine ourselves being, doing, and having that which we choose to be. So as we accept the idea of a fresh start, a new beginning, we can project this awareness into our work, our personal relationships, our finances, and our health. We can look at all these things for that something new that will come to our awareness. That something new is there for all of us, and we become aware of it by insisting in our mind that it comes to our awareness, that we do know it, we do reveal it, we do find it. Seek and ye shall find, Jesus said. Ask, which means claim in the Aramaic language of Jesus. Claim your good, name it and claim it. As long as it doesn't take anything away from anyone else nor diminishes anyone in any way, shape, or form, including yourself, you're in alignment with the infinite good. You're in tune with the infinite, and as you're in tune with the infinite, we shall believe and we shall receive. It's an absolute certainty. And Dr. Frank Richelieu is one of my favorite teachers. He wrote the book, The Art of Being Yourself, and you can buy his book, too. You can go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and you can buy Dr. Frank Richelieu's book, The Art of Being Yourself, and you can pick up Dr. Norman Vincent Peale's book. You can, if you think you can, at the same time, and before you know it, you'll be so inspired and motivated that you'll amaze all the people around you. Dr. Frank Richelieu writes, you are not just human, You are divine. And I am sure you accept this mentally, but do you really believe it? Do you really feel it? Do you really accept it? When you do, you will know intuitively that you and the infinite presence are one and that all the Creator has is available to you. You will know that one cycle of your life is finished and that a new one has begun. You will realize that transformation in your mind. You will feel a new surge of life, and you will know that you have made a breakthrough to a higher dimension of consciousness, to a higher dimension of realization that you are in the presence of God, and the presence of God is working through you, as you, for you, through your thoughts, your faith, and your beliefs to create your life experiences. That's what spiritual discernment is all about. It is doing us no good if it does not inspire us to complete one cycle of our lives and make a breakthrough into that higher dimension, if it does not constantly open new doors to us and new avenues to be explored. So let's end our program today with those words of the great Dr. Robert Bitzer. This is from his collected essays. While you may in some respects, this is so important for so many people because people are always drawing on the past, always bringing the old stuff into their present consciousness, into their present thoughts. While you may in some respects, Dr. Bitzer writes, be the product of your past, that must be forgotten. You must rise above that conception, that idea. Life is constantly starting new endeavors. The past is gone. Your true spiritual discernment only knows new beginnings, all things new. You were born into the light, the spirit, the power, the intelligence of God, and your way is clear. So begin to be what it is that you choose to be, you choose to have, you choose to do in your mind today. Focus your thoughts on that. And as you believe, you receive. And that's the truth for every one of us as we make this fresh start. And there's always a fresh start. And so it is. Amen. Once again, I want to thank you for being with me today. It's been